So when I saw someone like Oliver Tree break through, it felt validating. It felt like proof that you didn't have to sand off every weird edge to succeed. You didn't have to become normal just to succeed. You could become more specific. You could become more you, more committed to being you and being weird, being more yourself. And I think that's the part that's hitting me the hardest today because when someone dies young, especially someone who made art that meant something to you, it forces you to look at your own life in a way that is honestly uncomfortable. I woke up today for the first time in Los Angeles, California, and right now I'm sitting on a rooftop somewhere at a restaurant, and it's beautiful at sunset, watching the sunset. I always dreamed of coming here, so this is very crazy. This is very cool. But I woke up today to some news that was not what I expected or anything like that. Woke up today and got the news that Oliver Tree had passed away tragically in a helicopter collision in Rio de Janeiro. Him and 6 other passengers unfortunately passed away in the accident. And that gave me a lot to think about because I'm a huge fan of Oliver Tree and have been since before he even went viral. I remember seeing him on the old Cherdleys lifestyle vlogs in LA. He was friends with Cherdleys, the YouTuber, and he did cameos and stuff like that in the videos. They would hang out, and through that, I like looked him up, and I was like, oh, he makes music. That's really cool. And I heard the feature he did with Whethan, um, and the When I'm Down song. I think that was in like 2016. I had just graduated high school. I was starting to go to college, like that Alien Boy EP and stuff like that. I remember bonding with my friend Storm at the time, who I met in college, about him as an artist, and his music was really interesting and intriguing. He had a really interesting personality and like the committing to the bit that he would do. I really liked it. I really liked the whole thing. The character, Turbo, and the bowl cut, the Jenko jeans, everything like that. Was seeing people in my Discord talking about it, and I got a text from my friend about it. Um, and it's just crazy. Like, it's crazy to think that he's gone, especially because my first thought was that this is another prank, like his retirement pranks and stuff like that. And he's a very memey individual, and that's something he would do is like prank about this. But unfortunately, like the longer I looked at everything, it seems real, and that's like a tough pill to swallow, right? If anyone was gonna fake their death, it'd be him, 100%. But I think that's like wishful thinking at this point. And I think whenever anybody passes away this young, I think he was 32. I'm going to be 30 soon. I'm going to be 30 in a few years. It gives pause. It makes me think about, obviously, my own mortality. It's not about me, but it's like, I think that he, from everything that I've heard him impart in all of his interviews. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. In all of his interviews and everything that he's tried to impart to his listeners and his fans and viewers and everything like that is like, I saw something he said about he realized life was very short when his cousin got spinal meningitis, I think, and died very, very young in front of him. and it gave him a different lease on life. And he realized that he had to like live every day like it's his last type shit, and he beat addiction and from drugs and stuff, and it further furthered his love of life and to live every day like it's his last and like make the most of the time that he has because life is so short and fleeting. And that really resonated with me, and that's what I think about when now reflecting on his career and how bright he burned as an artist and as an individual, as a creator, as a comedian, as a musician, as a person, as a stuntman, which I think he actually would like to be known, as a skater, as a scooter. Uh, it gives me pause because it's like, damn, dude, you know, it makes you evaluate your own life. What am I doing? It makes me think, what am I doing? What am I doing with my time? What am I doing with my life? Am I doing what I should be doing? Am I doing what I am put on earth here to do? Is this my highest purpose? Is this my best use of my time, my life? Because it may not be very long. I may not have very long. He only had 32 years. You know what I mean? And I take it very seriously, the time I have, the youth that I have, and that it isn't guaranteed. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and I'm trying to live life to the fullest. I really am. Like we drove out to across the country, summer road trip, 26. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been crazy, and trying to do it big. Like I said, he burned so big and so bright. We could all only hope that we live as good of a like he did more living in his 32 years of being alive than most people do in their entire lives, in their whole lifetime. That's what I think a lot of people miss about artists like Oliver Tree. The joke was never just a joke. The costume was never just a costume. The absurdity was never just absurdity for the sake of it. It was a shield, it was a weapon. It was a way of saying something honest without having to say it in the most obvious cliche way possible. And honestly, I respected that a lot. That vulnerability, because that sincerity can be embarrassing. Trying can be embarrassing. Failing in front of people can be embarrassing, and wanting to be seen can be embarrassing. Making art in and of itself is a very embarrassing endeavor, and Oliver Tree found a way to take that embarrassment and turn the volume of embarrassment all the way up until it became the whole point. It was like he was saying, yes, this is ridiculous. Yes, I look stupid. Yes, this is over the top, but I'm doing it anyway. And because I'm doing it all the way, you have to take it seriously. That is a very specific kind of confidence, to be so confidently weird. And I think that is why he mattered so much to so many people, and why he resonated to so many people, including me. He committed to the bit in every sense. And when I saw him live in Philly, the thing that stuck with me was that the character made even more sense in person. Some artists feel smaller live than they do online. The illusion breaks a little bit. You realize the videos, the editing, the production quality, the mythology around them, all of that was doing a lot of the work. It was PR, it was marketing, but Oliver Tree felt like the opposite. The live show made the whole thing feel more real. The comedy was physical. The songs hit harder. The crowd understood the bit and was a part of it. The chaos felt intentional, and everyone was in on it. And I remember standing there thinking that this guy had figured something out. He figured out how to build a world around himself. He figured out how to make the visual identity, the music, the comedy, the performance, and the internet persona all feel like one unified thing. And whether people loved it or hated it, they remembered it. That is difficult to do. A lot of artists are talented. A lot of artists can write good songs. A lot of artists can make interesting videos. And a lot of artists can dress weird or be funny, get a funny haircut or whatever online. But very few people can fuse all of that into a recognizable mythology and commit to it in every sense, always, everywhere they go. Oliver Tree did that. He wasn't just releasing music, he was building a universe. He was building different characters everywhere he went, and everything that he did, it was in the service of his art. And being in LA makes that hit a little harder and a little differently because this is kind of a place that produces people like that, that allows them to grow and be themselves. Not because LA is magical in some simplistic way, but because LA is full of people trying to become something, people trying to make things, and people performing versions of themselves, people building characters, whether it's for a movie part or in real life, people chasing ideas that may not ever work. Oliver Tree had that California outsider energy. Santa Cruz, LA, music, skating, scooters, comedy, stunts, Santa Barbara, internet culture, emotional songs, absurd videos. It all felt connected. He felt like a product of that weird overlap between genuinely talented and genuinely terminally online. And I think that is one of the reasons his work connected with me. So when I saw someone like Oliver Tree break through, it felt validating. It felt like proof that you didn't have to sand off every weird edge to succeed. You didn't have to become normal just to succeed. You could become more specific. You could become more you, more committed to being you and being weird, being more yourself. And I think that's the part that's hitting me the hardest today, because when someone dies young, especially someone who made art that meant something to you, it forces you to look at your own life in a way that is honestly uncomfortable. It makes you think about time, not in the abstract, but like real time, the amount of days you actually have left, the amount of years you may or may not have, the amount of ideas you keep delaying because you assume there will be a better time later to do them. And I keep asking myself, am I actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I living up to my full potential? Am I really following my ultimate dreams and passions as fully as I could be? Or am I just maintaining a version of my life that is safe, practical, and easy to explain to other people? And I don't mean that in like a fake motivational speaker way. I'm not saying everyone should quit their job tomorrow and go chase some vague dream that they have. That's not what I mean. I mean something more serious than that. Like, I mean, am I using the time I have? Am I making the things I actually care about? I think that is one of the scariest things about getting older. Not just failure, but compromise. Not the necessary kind of compromise that comes with maturity and responsibility and building a life or a family, but the quiet kind, the kind where you slowly stop doing the things that you care about because nobody's forcing you to do them. You're not scared as much anymore. The kind where your dreams do not explode dramatically, they just sit there untouched for years collecting dust. The kind where you tell yourself you're busy and you're tired and you will get back to it eventually, but you never do. And then one day something happens that reminds you that eventually is not guaranteed. That is what today feels like. The uncomfortable truth is that Oliver Tree did the thing. Whether you liked it, every song or every bit or every character or album or era that he did the thing. He made the music. He made the videos. He built the persona. My dreams aren't guaranteed some perfect future version of myself who is less tired, busy, afraid, whatever, distracted in my own head and more ready. That version of myself may never show up in the way that I think that he will at some point. You have to make things from where you are, imperfectly, awkwardly, honestly, dirtily. You have to make the thing before time makes the decision for you. That is why I keep coming back with Oliver Tree. Like, he gave me permission. He gave everyone permission to be strange and care and not choose between comedy and pain or happiness and sadness, like to be ridiculous without being empty, to be authentic. I think a lot of people are walking around with a version of themselves that they're afraid to fully become. They have an idea, they have the project, they have the song or the persona or the world or the whatever, the video, the business, the product, the character, the book, and they keep thinking about it at night or when they're at work, and they keep waiting. They keep waiting for the right time. They keep waiting until they're better, waiting until it's safe. But the truth is, it's never safe. It's never going to make sense. It's never going to be the right time. There's always a risk. People might not get it. People might not like it. They might judge you. They might make fun of you. They might laugh at you. And people might misunderstand you. And that thing that you do might fail. But the alternative is worse. The alternative where you never make it, it never happens, it never becomes real, of becoming someone who only talks about what they could have done instead of actually doing it. And I don't want that. I don't want to be that. The real lesson isn't panic. The real lesson is deliberate action, to live more intentionally and deliberately, to take pride in the work and the things and the time that you have, to stop doing things halfway, to build better systems, to build better art, to make time for the things that matter and the people that matter, to stop assuming that the good version of life is always somewhere in the future, because it's not. The only thing that matters is here right now. It's here. It's the present moment, and it is what you make of it today. It is what you choose to do today. It's whether you actually give the best parts of yourself a chance to exist. And I think that is what I want to take from this. Something positive. I want to live more deliberately. That's what I'm thinking about today when he passed away. Today, when I got that news, that's what's on my mind, is that we should all remember him. And I'm sad that he's gone. Like, I'm so grateful that I got to see him live and I got to like be there for his entire career. Grateful that I got to experience his music and like his whole trajectory from start to finish. Like, I'm so grateful that his work existed, that he existed during the years of my life when I needed that specific kind of weird confidence and catharsis. And I hope he knew how much his art meant to people, not just the big obvious hits, but like the B-sides, not just the viral moments, but the smaller emotional things, the interviews and the times where he was super transparent and genuine. What version of yourself are you quietly suppressing because it's inconvenient or strange or like not the safe option? Because time's limited. And I hate saying that because it sounds like cliche, but it's times like these that it's just so obvious. So obvious. And it sucks that as humans we need these tragic things to happen in order for us to get that jogged back into our memory. But like, eras end, people die, things end, everything ends. This is going to end at some point. I'm not going to be here anymore. So like, call that person, take that trip just like I did. I drove across the entire country to LA, write the song, build the project, wear the outfit that's ridiculous. I'm wearing all pink today. Say the honest thing and put this strange idea into the world, not because it's guaranteed to work, but because not doing it is its own kind of failure that is way worse way worse. Thank you for the songs. Thank you for Alien Boy. Thank you for When I'm Down and all the music videos, and for Hurt, and for Fair Weather Friends, and the chaos and the comedy and the stunts and the absurdity and the interviews and the wisdom and the catharsis. And thank you for making weirdness feel powerful. Uh, Thank you for the sincerity. And thank you for showing how cool it is to be real and to be genuine and to be yourself and to be weird. And thank you for reminding me that weird is not always a thing to overcome. Sometimes being weird is the thing that you're supposed to protect. And I don't know how much time any of us get. None of us know, but I know I don't want to waste my time pretending I don't care about the things I care about. And if there's anything I can take from his work, it's this: commit to the bit, but mean it. Make the thing. Live deliberately, and don't wait to become yourself. Thank you for making weirdness feel powerful, Oliver Tree. Rest in peace. And we'll see you on the other side. Hope I get to meet you over there.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking joke. Don't put a mean YouTube comment because it will ruin our whole lives.